Hi, welcome to Fantasy Week. In this video, I have turned my PowerPoint lecture into slides with audio voiceover. And in these slides, I'm going to show you some different examples of fantasy makeup. So what is fantasy makeup? Well, I call it fantasy. It covers a really broad category that could encompass anything non-realistic. So it could be avant garde fashion makeup. It could be purely an artistic expression that you do in makeup. It could be a fantasy character like fairies or aliens or comic book characters or cosplay characters. It could be, for instance, Beauty and the Beast has a lot of characters that are household items that have been brought to life, like a teacup or a wardrobe or a candelabra. So any of those things that are non-realistic fall under the realm of fantasy makeup. Another thing that comes in this category is fashion photography, editorial fashion photography that may serve to represent the theme of the fashion shoot or the theme of the collection. And so it's a heightened sense. It's not cosmetics that everyone would wear around the street, but it's a kind of a heightened sense of expression that helps the theme of the particular fashion collection. And also another category that falls under this is representation of art. So maybe a recreation of pop art or a recreation of something that is not necessarily a person like we did in the likeness makeup. This is really something that's unrealistic. It could be stylized makeup. And so that's kind of a broad category. So in this PowerPoint, it was originally, my lecture was the animal makeup and the fantasy makeup. And so the first slide is kind of that segue from animal into fantasy. Okay, so this slide is our segue from animal makeup into fantasy makeup. So the image on the left, it is an animal makeup, but it's really not a realistic, well, none of the animal makeups are going to be completely realistic. But I think you can tell that this is more of a character that has been created. It's more like an animal spirit sort of shaman or something like that. And I think it's a really great image. But I think that really the costume is doing most of the work. Don't forget that you can use the costume to do, to enhance what you're doing with the makeup, but you don't want it to do all of the work. So just having an animal mask is not going to make it an animal makeup. You want to make sure that you're doing the work of the makeup. And then this next one looks almost like a Julie Andrews character, but it's Pinocchio or some sort of doll or mannequin. And so this is a perfect example of a fantasy makeup. So she's first covered her face. She did a really good contour, and with the lines coming down from her mouth makes it look like it's a puppet. Her face is a puppet. And then over all of it, probably one of the last things she did was create little lines that created a wood grain all over her face. And so it's very effective fantasy makeup. So the fantasy makeup can be pretty much anything you want it to be. And I'm going to give you a few examples now of what that can be. So this image on the right is kind of a cubist sort of makeup. Cubism is a particular way of looking at the different planes of the face. And if you look at this picture of Cate Blanchett, the way they've drawn the lines, that really helps define the different planes of the face. So whenever you have a different angle that meets up with another angle, that creates a different plane of the face. And so do you see how, if this was something you were interested in doing, you might be able to approach your face, your picture, your photograph, and draw lines on your face blank that shows the different planes of your face, and then paint them in different colors, and you would get something that was similar to this cubist look. So here are some other images that are a little abstract, and some of them are also cubism. So you can take inspiration from art. So the one on the left is, I think it's supposed to be Charlie Sheen, but he has been rendered in a cubist fashion. And then the one in the center is a Pablo Picasso. And then you can see how you might take that information and turn it into an interesting artistic makeup design for yourself, using art as an inspiration. So it doesn't have to be realistic. It can be an abstract design of your own choosing. Here's an example of using mosaics. These are Byzantine mosaics that have been used for her makeup design. And so I think that's something that would be a really interesting choice to make. And then the research that you would do would be getting some of these, getting some images of the mosaics and using those as inspiration. This is a really great makeup design. So the poster on the left is pop art. It's stylized, it's a little abstract, and then you can see how she's basically recreated it on her face. But if you can look at where her features are in this makeup, you can see where her nose is. The bottom of her nose stops in the middle of that white part that is the nose of the painting. And then the bottom of her chin is the bottom of the top lip in the painting. And so it's kind of interesting to look and see where her features are. And I bet she did very similar to the way you're going to do your animal makeup designs, the same sort of thing of drawing out and figuring out more proportionally how you would like to recreate this on your face, and then drawing out those lines on your face. So there are a couple of things going on with this makeup that really are helping it. So for one thing, she's taking a picture in front of a black background, so that really adds to the idea that the places that she has painted on her face that are completely black, it looks like you're seeing all the way through her to the black background. So that's an illusion. And then another thing that's very interesting, rather than just drawing all of these lines on her face to look like puzzle pieces in just black, she also has highlighted them in certain places with white, with highlight. So what that does is it allows the black to pop, and it really looks dimensional, and it really adds to the illusion. Instead of just having puzzle pieces drawn all over, it really looks like it's a dimensional thing. And also, I think having the black color come up on her chest a little bit as well, it looks like it's an unfinished puzzle. So it's very effective. This makeup artist named Saraswati, you can find her Instagram at Queen of Luna. She does some really wonderful work that always incorporates her hijab. She's Muslim and she wears the hijab, which is the Muslim hair covering. And she incorporates that into all of her makeup designs. She has several of them that are Disney princesses. You should really check it out. She's got some wonderful work in there. And it's very unique the way she's incorporated the hijab in there. Here we have two different versions of Jafar from Aladdin. Both of these versions are inspirational, and they both use the same, picture of the cartoon of Jafar and came up with two different interpretations. So you could use either of those makeups as inspiration for you, but your main design inspiration should come from the original, which is the cartoon. So if you're trying to make yourself look like a cartoon, you can decide how you want to design your character. And you can see that both of these makeup artists did something original. They designed something original based on Jafar. And so you don't want to just copy their designs. You want to design something original based on your research, whatever that may be. And it could be cartoons, it could be portraiture, it could be sculpture or masks or different paintings, or dolls, or you could create a character a fantastical character from a play. You could have it be a fairy. It could be Puck. It could be Caliban. You just really have a lot of leeway to do whatever you want with this fantasy character.